Meeting called to order. Will please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And Freeholder Gill, will you please lead us in the salute?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla.
Present.
Freeholder Clark.
Here.
Freeholder Gill.
Here.
Freeholder Johnson.
Present.
Freeholder Luciano.
Here.
Freeholder Owens.
Here.
Freeholder Vice President Sebo. Here. Freeholder President Watson.
Here. I have before me certification from the clerk that this meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Madam Clerk, are there any topics of discussion?
Madam President, there are none.
Okay, Madam Clerk, then let's go to the public comment session. For action at this time only, to the audience, we will be only voting on Resolution 2, 14, 18, and 19. So if there's any member of the public who would like to comment or speak on the resolutions that I just mentioned, please come to the microphone, state your name, affiliation, and you have 3 minutes to speak. On the resolutions 2, 14, 18, and 19. Okay, Madam Clerk, let the record reflect that there is no one wishing to speak on the resolutions. Now, if we have anyone from the public who would like to speak on any issue, please come to the microphone, state your name and affiliation, and you have 3 minutes to speak on any issue. Please come up.
Good evening, Madam.
Could you adjust? Yes, that's good now.
Good evening, Madam President, Russell Freeholders.
Oh, I'm sorry, place your name for the record, please.
For the record, my name is Dupre.
And your address, thank you.
211 Harley Street, Newark, New Jersey.
Continue.
I just wanted to come in today and talk about the recent violence that's been going on in our city.
Excuse me, sir. Hold on for a second. Apparently, your microphone is not working.
It's not on. Yeah. Yes.
You want to start again?
Sure. A little on button.
Okay, would you please state your name and affiliation for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
My name is Dupre Kelly, 211 Horsley Street. I'm probably better known to some of the viewers who love hip hop as Do It All from Lords of the Underground. I wanted to come in today. I'm born and raised in Newark, New Jersey, and I wanted to come in and talk about the violence that's been plaguing our city for a while now. Being that I have I guess a celebrity background to these youth in our streets, they kind of listen to me, and the relationships that I have, that they listen to my resources and my relationships. So I've lost a couple of people this past month, and I just felt like it was time to do something and just marching on City Hall and just doing regular rallies and things of that nature. So a couple of my celebrity friends and community leaders, we formed a coalition. My nonprofit organization is called 211 Community Impact. And we formed the organization to do a mock funeral in this city, which is happening October 27th in Newark, New Jersey, starting out at all 5 wards. I've talked to all of the funeral homes. I got them involved, so we're having a funeral director in each ward, starting the procession at 10 a.m. on Sunday, October 27th, leading to Bears Stadium for the biggest funeral that Newark has ever seen. And we're doing it. I'm spending my own money doing it. I have the support from the council, the Newark Council. I have support from my celebrity friends. I have support from all of the community. Now I come here today to ask the freeholders of the county. I can't do it alone. I know that there's some support that you guys can give us to help us help you, to help us help the county, to help us help the city. We plan on packing Bear Stadium that day just off of my relationships alone and what this city, how this city respects me and my relationships and resources. So I come to this meeting tonight to ask assistance from the county, whatever you can do. You know, whatever you guys can do to help us at least start the healing process, and that takes the unity to, you know, just by getting the people to show up. This is not no regular rally, this is not a regular march, or if we're gonna call it a rally, it's a rally on steroids. I want people to be able to donate, even if it's just their time. It's not no political agenda at all. Nobody from any politics will be able to grab the mic that night, because we want to prove that this is no political agenda, that the only agenda is to help the youth and at least start somewhere to get along to stop the violence. Thank you.
And thank you for your comments, and I'm sure that the freeholders, your comments were well taken, and I'm sure you'll be hearing from the freeholders. But when you leave the mic, I will then ask a freeholder who asked if he could speak. I will ask him to make comments. But I normally don't have comments made after a speaker, but you will be hearing from us.
Thank you, Madam President.
Okay, and thank you again
Thank you
for
for
your
your-
interest. And certainly the need, there is a serious need in the city of Newark for the violence that's taking place.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else from the public who would like to speak? Is there anyone else from the public who would like to speak? Okay, Madam Clerk, then there's no one else wishing to speak at this time. We will ask, I think Freeholder Rufus Johnson is asking that he make a brief comment.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. You know, as everyone knows, that I have been a victim of some of the violence that occurs in the city of Newark, being a lifelong Newarker, dedicating a lot of my life to working with a lot of the young people in Newark. As a matter of fact, Mr. Dupre Kelly played Little League Baseball for me. And to see him travel the world and come back to the city and see what's going on there, to say, hey, I'm ready to put my best foot forward in doing this. I think he should be commended first, but I think that we, when I say we, us as the residents who've been here and who's been talking about the violence and going to funerals like we have over the past couple of years, and with that spree of 10 or 12 young people dying in the course of 10 days, enough is enough. And what I'm doing is I'm putting out a pledge to all of my colleagues, friends, people who are looking on from their homes, that we need help in Newark. We need it bad. And I think that the best resource for that is for all of us to come together. It's not just an African American thing. It's not just a Latino thing. It's not just a Caucasian thing. This is a people thing that's going on here. And we have so many people that work in the city of Newark that come through the streets of the city of Newark scared and make the money in Newark and take it back out. It's time that we invested in a city as good as Newark is going to be. But it's going to take all of us. It's not going to take just one group. We can't depend on just a mayor. We can't depend on just a council. We can't depend on just a community leader or a district leader. We all have to come together and make a difference. And I'm glad that Mr. Dupree is here today to talk about it, October the 27th. I'm going to be out there. I'm going to have as many people as I can possible to get there. And I am going to be one soliciting pledges to help in their venue. So, Madam President, thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak. And I will definitely let you know what's going on as we move forward, Madam President.
Very good. And at the end of the meeting, if we have any additional, if any other freeholders would like to speak, we'll now open it up for comments from the freeholders at the end of the meeting. you will be able to make additional comments. There was a special request from Freeholder Johnson to allow him to make comments. Madam Clerk, let's continue with the agenda. Are there any ordinance or resolutions on second reading?
Madam President, there are none.
Okay, then, Madam Clerk, are there any ordinances on first reading?
And Madam Clerk, there is one for listing only. Ordinance number 1, ordinance establishing a fee schedule for the Essex County's Clerk's Office.
Okay, Mr. Sheller, will you please explain the ordinance?
Yes, Madam President. This is establishing a fee schedule for the Essex County Clerk's Office, and this fee schedule is being established for items that are not covered under the state statute. In your packet, there are 9 particular items. They range from the county clerk identification card to a duplicate identification card to photos, the passport fee, county clerk's youth identification card, a duplication card, a notarization of trade name, a notarization of individual name, and a monthly or trade name list. And the fee schedule is so attached in your packet.
Thank you. Mr. McInerney, do you have any questions or comments?
Not on this resolution, on this ordinance, no.
Okay, very good. Mr. Polisevsky, any comments? Okay. Freeholders, do you have any questions or comments? Okay, Madam Clerk, please list it, and let's move to Resolution 1. Please read it.
Resolution 1, Department of Administration and Finance, Office of Accounts and Controls, approval of the 2012 Corrective Action Plan.
Okay, Ralph, you want to explain the resolution?
This is in accordance with the single audit and local government services. All counties are required to prepare and submit a corrective action plan to the state with regards to the county audited findings. The report had 6 findings, 6 of which have been corrected immediately, and 2 will be implemented on an ongoing process.
Okay, Mr. Polisevsky, do you have any questions or comments? Mr. McInerney?
Yes, Madam President, thank you. This corrective action plan, as was stated, is a requirement after the audit, which I received with limited audit findings. What this does, it addresses those audit findings and the corrective action that's recommended and the corrective action that will be implemented by the county to correct these issues. I don't believe that the administration disagrees with anything in here, at least I didn't read it that way. There are some things here, such as the CFO wasn't covered under the surety bond. I believe that's been corrected or in the process of being corrected. But all these corrective actions will take place in the short term.
Okay. Freeholders, do you have any questions or comments? And we're on Resolution 1. Freeholder Clark?
Yeah, through you, Madam President, to, I guess,
Could you
Mr.
speak a little into the
Through you,
mic?
Madam
Thank you.
President, to either Mr. Chilella or perhaps even Mr. McInerney, finding number 2, has that gone into effect already?
Through Madam President, if I could call
Mr.
up
Sheller.
Norm Willis, our CFO, to address that.
Finding number 2.
Okay, please state your name for
Norman-
the record.
Norman Willis,
Excuse me,
Chief.
will you please state your name for the record again?
Norman Willis, Chief Financial Officer.
Continue.
Finding number 2, which I think pertains to the Department of Corrections, it's in the process of being addressed. What occurred was the Department of Correction had a process in place where they have to maintain the day that a person is incarcerated and the day that they leave. And when they went to review the records, the auditors didn't go through the full process of understanding what days that they had to keep on record. So they agreed between the Department of Corrections and the auditor on the next audit that the Corrections Department will take them through the full process for, like they can see, like the number of days that they have to maintain, and that they do reconcile with the Department of Corrections on the reimbursements.
Oh, okay. First of all, let me say, I apologize because I didn't realize you were sitting out there, or I would have acknowledged that. But okay, now I really do have a question, because what you just said does not comport with what this says. What I was asking was, has it been taken care of? Meaning, have we aligned our have we reconciled our number of days with the state's number of days? Because apparently we were calculating one thing and the state was calculating something else. So I was wondering if that had been taken care of. However, now what I hear you saying is that, go ahead.
Okay, what I'm saying is, if you're noticing that they say that they added a worksheet to the report that does take the number of days into account, but from my understanding, that the auditors didn't go through the full process of understanding what days that the Department of Correction had to maintain as a record on their books. So they only went through the full process. So the auditors in the Department of Correction concurred that on the next audit, that they would go through the full process.
Okay.
But as far as the reimbursements are concerned, from the state, they do reconcile.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to let Mr. McInerney jump in. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Mr. McInerney, you have a comment?
I was just curious, the way I read this is that it looked like, I believe there's a 15-day period of time. It doesn't indicate it here, but I think it's been that way, for the confinement of state prisoners in our jail, isn't it? Is it after 15 days or within 15 days? I don't.
I believe it's 15, but we can call Mr. Ortiz up to clarify that.
If I could.
Alfaro Ortiz, Director, Essex County Jail. My understanding of this is that for state individuals that are maintained at the Essex County Jail, the 15 days, after 15 days is when the clock starts ticking for the state. It's on us for the first 15 till we get a JOC, in which case he now becomes a state inmate.
Right. Okay. So I guess it's the way the CFO made it sound is that everything ties out, but almost like the auditors were under a misconception, and therefore they were doing something. That's the way I read the comments. What his comment was. So just so I have it straight, the 15 days, the issue about after 15 days, there's a calculation done at the corrections department, and there's one done by the state. Those have to be reconciled. And what was apparently happening here is that they weren't reconciling. So if they weren't reconciling, I'm still curious how the bills could be, the same, unless the bills were being reconciled subsequent to them being issued. So is it fair to say that at this point in time, the county records and the state records or the county records are structured correctly, or either the county records are wrong or the state records are wrong? Which one was it? That's what we're all confused about.
Exactly.
Al Ortiz, Director. We now are in sync with the state, so we're both working off the same mathematical equation so that we both come to the same numbers. There's always going to be a dispute here or there depending on what sentencing date and whatever have you.
Right. So yeah, I mean, it's always is it the 15th day or it's the 16th day they're there, and it's a question of whether or not they were sent and when they actually left.
Correct.
Okay. So I mean, that should be fairly easy to compute. So okay. So as far as we're concerned, at this point in time, it's resolved.
Yes.
And that,
Freeholder Clark.
and so we should never see it as a finding on an audit anymore.
We never say never, but we're going to strive to always be in sync with them, and we're going to have communications with them throughout the year so that we're at given points in time on the same targets, and we'll do audits to check that we are, in fact. We always have to check. There's the volume coming in and the volume going out is large.
Freeholder Gill.
Thank you, Madam President. So were we reimbursed for days that, did the state reimburse us for days that we counted that the state does not count? So what I'm hearing is the day of release is not counted by the state, correct?
No, it has to do when an individual has less than 1 year, stays with us. But if he's now, after it's sentenced to the state, and he stays with us up until the 16th day, then the clock starts ticking, that we start charging the states for the first 15 days on us. So on the 16th day, now he becomes a state inmate assigned to us, and now we start charging them.
Okay, additional questions, comments, freeholders? Thank you, Mr. Ortiz. We have a Finance Oversight Committee meeting scheduled for October 7th. If we need to discuss that, the issue more in detail, I would suggest we have Mr. Ortiz to be prepared in case there's additional information we need. We could send the questions prior to the October 7th meeting for additional information on this particular subject. So if there's no further questions, freeholders, we'll list that, Madam Clerk, and let's move to Resolution 2 and the administration's requesting action on this tonight. So please read it.
Resolution 2, Office of County Council, Title 4-D, Reimbursement Agreement between Essex County Council and the New Jersey Department of Human Services, Revenue $275,477.
Okay, Mr. Sherrill, please explain the resolution and tell the board why you're requesting action on this tonight.
Yes, Madam President. The state has requested that we turn this resolution around quickly back to them so the county can get reimbursed. These are for reimbursement to the county where we provide support services out of our county counsel's office on behalf of publicly assisted dependent children, paternity proceedings, and obtaining, collecting, and enforcing child support orders on behalf of dependent children. And the clerk had read into the record the amount of $275,477 will be reimbursed to the county. And it covers basically 3 attorneys and 1 secretary.
Okay, Mr. Sherrill, I'm sorry, Mr. Polivecchio, do you have any questions?
I do not, no, Madam Clerk.
Okay.
I should also point out that it roughly reimburses about 65% of the cost for this service.
Okay. Frank?
No, there is a detailed outline in the documentation that lists the attorneys, wages as well as their fringe benefits and the total amount of the reimbursement.
Very good. Okay, question, comments, freeholders? Freeholders, do I have a motion and a second? I'm sorry, Freeholder Seabold, I didn't
Thank you.
see your hand. Vice President Seabold.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cielo, this is a renewal, is that correct?
Yes, the county receives this reimbursement on an annual basis.
The amount of money coming in, is that the same as we had last year?
No, it basically is less, and it's basically because the cost, I think we last year had a higher employee that was earning a higher salary. That individual had retired, and we replaced her with someone that was making less money. So it's actually reimbursement for their salary. So if you hire somebody at a cheaper rate, you're reimbursed at a cheaper rate.
So the fact that it's less does not affect us?
That is correct.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, additional questions, freeholders? Do I have a motion and second, Freeholders, to take Resolution 2? Moved by Freeholder Vice President Sebo. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Freeholder Johnson. A roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley, absent Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Owens.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, Ralph, we're going to take Resolution 3.
Essex County Improvement Authority resolution of the Essex County Board of Chosen Freeholders authorizing the Essex County Improvement Authority to acquire easements for the property surrounding our Essex County Airport to remedy a safety hazard posed by overgrowth on the surrounding properties. We do have Mr. Paganelli, the Executive Director of the ECIA here, that can better explain this resolution than I can.
Mr. Paganelli, please come to the mic.
Madam President, James Paganelli, Executive Director of the Essex County Improvement Authority. Madam President, over the last probably 3 years, the Improvement Authority has embarked on a project that's dealt with the neighbors that surround the airport in Fairfield. We have a situation where there's high-growing trees, which cause obstructions on the airport. So we have gone out probably with 10 different landowners in Fairfield and West Caldwell, as well as on airport tree removals, and have done projects over the last 2 years. Unfortunately, the 3 property owners that are listed in the resolution tonight, we have not been able to enter into an agreement, which we've done with the others, which was really just a right of entry. We were going on, we were doing the tree clearing, and we were doing replantings, all funded by the FAA. Unfortunately, these 3 property owners are reluctant to move forward in that fashion. So we have been compelled to try to now attain easements on their property to allow us to go onto their property and cut down the obstructions. In the legalese, they're called navigation easements, which will allow us to keep obstructions away from the ends of the airport runways. So we have gone out and got appraisals for the value of these easements. They'll be permanent easements if that's ultimately the way it has to go. We would hope that good faith negotiations will proceed and will resolve them amicably. If not, we may have to invoke the Improvement Authority's power of eminent domain, which we need this board's consent to do, which is why we're here tonight.
Okay. Just stand there, because I'm sure the freeholders will have some questions. Mr. Polyvecchio, questions?
Mr.
comments?
Paganelli, I thought I understood until the end. This is just for the easement. This is not seeking the board's approval for eminent domain at this time, is it?
Well, the easement would be taken by condemnation.
Okay.
So it's authorizing the acquisition, whether it be through good faith negotiation or condemnation.
For that portion of the property that you need for access, or the entire property?
Not for the entire property.
Right. Okay.
Much smarter people than I, as you know, engineers. There's what I would call a funnel that goes up at the end of your runway. So it goes up and out and higher as you leave the airport or arrive on the airport. That's basically the area that we're talking about. That's why for most of the property owners, just a right of entry, come on, cut the trees down and replant was an easier solution. Unfortunately, we're stuck with these 3.
And the state statute requires the Improvement Authority to get prior authorization from the Board of Freeholders before proceeding with the easement or this actual trying to get a property interest on these
Certainly,
neighbors.
Madam President, through you, certainly if the Improvement Authority needs to invoke its condemnation powers under the statute, we have to get permission from the Freeholder Board.
Mr. McInerney?
Right. The fiscal impact here just estimates, based on appraisals, that the total cost of this, of the easements, I believe, the acquisition of the easements would be about $26,600. I guess that's the statement, right? Not a
Was
question.
that a statement or a question?
Well, is that all of the cost that you believe would be part and parcel of this action?
It's, Madam President, through you again, it's all the costs attendant to acquisition of the easement. Obviously, tree removal will add costs on, doing the project itself will add on costs, but just the improvement authority acquiring these easements, that's what our appraisals have come back in terms of the expense. Mr. Parlavecchio, stays on top of me at the improvement authority as well as he does down here. And through negotiations, sometimes prices will increase. They may get their own appraisals. And if things change, I'll certainly report to him and to the clerk to let them know that the numbers haven't held, they went up, or they have held, and I have no problem reporting back to the board.
Mr. McEnroe?
Madam President, thank you. Where would these funds be paid out of? These would come out of the ECIA, but what part of your budget would?
Madam President, through you, these funds will come out of the airport excess revenue funds.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Jim.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Freeholder Bobadilla?
I just want to know, what are the legal implications, if any, to the county from these homeowners, property owners, if you will?
Madam President, through you, the Improvement Authority is an independent, autonomous agency. It's the sole owner and operator of the Essex County Airport. There are no county implications here. We're not looking for county dollars. We're not looking for county guarantees. We're not looking for county work on this project. So the county is not implicated at all, other than we need permission from the board to proceed in this matter.
Freeholder Luciano? I'm sorry, did you complete your question? That was okay? Okay, Freeholder Luciano.
Through you, Madam President. Director, just for the record, you referred to the properties as being the number 3. I have it here as 4 properties. Is there
There may be a property listed that I think we ended up, we're not going to be proceeding on this matter, at least at this time. If there's a property on there called Bellis Associates, that is taken off the recommendation. I don't know if you have an older document there, but
Yeah, that's the one I see here. So
yeah,
I don't
Bellis
know.
Associates is not part of this at this time.
Okay, and another question, Director, is just in layman's terms, could you be more the question would be, so if the property owners would agree to let us go in and cut the trees or the shrubs, this wouldn't cost the ECIA anything, but because they're reluctant, it's going to cost us $26,000, or ECIA, it's $26,000?
Madam President, through you, the way that the Improvement Authority has conducted this business over the last couple of years has been through a right of entry. So property owner A has an obstruction to the airport. We sit down with property owner A. Property owner A says, you can come on our property, you'll indemnify us, you'll insure us, all those other things which we've done. And in exchange for that right of entry, we do the tree clearing or the obstruction removal, and we replant. So that the consideration for allowing us on temporarily and allowing us to remove the obstruction is for us to replant, usually something that won't grow, too tall, so it's usually pines or something low growing, and that's been the sum of the deal. So it has not been without cost, it's just been a different type of cost, and those transactions were completely funded by the FAA.
Last question.
Continue.
Do you know offhand, Director, if we have done this type of remediation of the hazard on these properties before? Are these property owners just reluctant this year, or have we never stepped foot on their property before?
Madam President, I've only been the executive director there for 10 years, and I don't believe that prior to my term, anybody focused on obstructions. So we have not visited these properties before. It's been something we've worked on the last couple of years to try to make the airport as safe and as efficient as we can.
Thank you, Mr. Paganelli.
Yes,
Thank
Madam
you.
President, if I could just make one other
Continue.
point, just off of Freeholder Bobadilla's question. None of these are residential landowners. This is all commercial settings in and around Fairfield and West Colton.
Yeah, that was my concern, if it was residential or commercial.
I'm not climbing through people's backyards, Madam President.
That's what, and when you say eminent domain, I started thinking right away, are we intruding on individuals' homes?
Right.
That answers
That's
my
why we
question.
always believed that the right of entry, which didn't give us a perpetual interest in your property, but just gave us permission to get on, was always the best way for us and the homeowner, or not, now I've said it, and the landowner
Okay.
to approach it that way.
That's better.
Yes, ma'am.
Freeholder Bobadilla?
I just want to be clear, because this is obviously not my field, but what you're asking for the Freeholder Board tonight is to authorize the easement, which could lead up to eminent domain. So you're asking for the right of passage, for the approval from us for the right of passage, but the money would be coming from the FAA, regardless if it's 26,000 or more?
Madam President, through you, what the Improvement Authority is asking for is consent from the Freeholder Board, that if it ultimately has to go through condemnation for the easement only, that we get that consent. The cost of the $26,000 is borne completely by the ECIA for the value of those permanent easements on the property. That answer your question?
Permanent value.
Permanent.
Permanent, okay.
Which is why, quite frankly, I say it on the record, we think a right of entry is better for the landowner. And ECIA doesn't have a permanent interest, but if this is the way it's going to go, we will have a permanent interest, it won't be a fee interest. In other words, Michael could probably explain it better than I can. We won't own the property, but we'll own the right to enter the property and make sure that there's no obstructions to the airport.
Okay. All right, freeholders, additional questions, comments? Thank you, Mr. Paganelli.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And Madam Clerk, we'll list Resolution 3, and Ralph, we'll go to Resolution 4.
Resolution
Please explain
4 is our Department of Corrections contract with East Orange General Hospital to provide for our inmate, inpatient, and outpatient services, emergency room care, physical examinations, as well as psychiatric treatment in a hospital setting, more commonly known as our lock unit, in the amount of $1,800,000. This is a renewal contract. It will include 15 beds in the lock unit. As you also recall, there are other counties that we've signed on as part of this lock unit where the county receives revenue, and they include Hudson County, Union County, Passaic County, Monmouth County, and Gloucester.
Okay, very good. Mr. McInerney?
Madam President, this contract is for $1.8 million, and it has a provision in the contract that allows the county to take advantage of a 7% discount if we pay the bill within 30 days. So my question to the administration is, number one, does the 7% discount apply to billings that equal to 1.8, or is it part of the billings that equal 1.8? And two, I'd be interested to know, one, A, if we've taken advantage of that, and B, to what extent last year.
If I can call Mr. Ortiz, our Director of Corrections, to answer that question.
Madam President, Alfaro Ortiz, Director, Essex County Correctional Facility. We are absolutely taking advantage of that 7% discount. Obviously, it's a prudent course of business to do. As we know, medical expenses are extremely expensive, and we try to save wherever possible. We have a very sick population that comes to us, so every penny, every dollar that we can save the county taxpayer, we endeavor to do that, and we have done that.
That discount, if I might, Madam President,
Continue,
that discount.
McInerney.
Thank you. That discount applies to inpatient fees. Is all 1.8 of this considered inpatient fees, or the majority of it?
Are you asking me?
Yes, I'm sorry, sir. Yeah, I'm sorry.
To my understanding,
Yes, you may respond.
to my understanding, it covers both the outpatient and inpatient for Essex County inmates being treated there.
Okay, I think the 7%, it may very well, what I saw was that it said inpatient. But what I'd like to see is how much we did save last year under this contract, taking advantage of the 7%. So if we could have that by this is not on for action, so if we can have it on by next week. If we have the information by next week, I'd appreciate it.
Sure.
Okay, Ralph?
We will provide that,
The
Madam
request is
President.
coming from Mr. McInerney to provide the information on the outpatient services. Okay, Vice President Sebold?
Thank you very much. Through you, Madam President. I understand that we're entitled to 15 beds. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Do we ever actually use all 15 beds? And if we need more than 15 beds, what happens?
Mr. Ortiz?
We have yet in roughly, I'm guessing that we've been there now for roughly 5.5 years, maybe 6. We've never filled it up. The closest we've ever come has been 11.
Even with the other counties
Yes.
involved?
Right now, my count is 6.
6. So having 15 is not a problem for us?
We want to expand, but that's a different discussion. But right now, we've never exceeded it. And I will also mention that in agreement with the other counties, Essex County has first preference to the bed. So if we're full and we have 1 bed, it comes to Essex first, and they're aware of that. Then we do other things with the other counties. We will watch them for a fee in another room outside of it, but we have yet to exceed our limit.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam President.
Okay, and how many years we've worked with Eastern General to, with the contract to share, with the shared services with the other state counties?
I will have 7 years here in November, and we've been with them ever since, so it's at least 7, maybe more.
So the shared services is working. Freeholder Clark, I know you always talk about shared services, and that's the best way to go, coming from NJAC. A lot of the counties are pooling their resources and coming together to save counties money. Shared services. Okay, so that's good. Freeholder Clark.
Just out of curiosity, with the Affordable Care Act kicking in, and there not being a provision for a person who may have had some kind of medical coverage to, in other words, they don't get it now in the situation that they find themselves in. That means that 100% of their medical care is borne by the County of Essex.
That's correct. And my understanding, because I'm asking that question, how will that affect us? We may be able to gain some monies from other insurances those individuals may have to offset the county's expenses, but that's yet to be determined, and we're trying to figure that one out now. I asked that question the other day.
Yeah, I was about to say, because that was a question I remember asking, and I don't think we've really gotten a definitive answer.
That's correct.
On that. So, perhaps, because you said something else that was critical, and that is that we happen to have a population that has some critical medical needs. That means, given what we know now about the medical insurance landscape and the fact that all of that now is our responsibility, I would just kind of like us to get some kind of an overview, some kind of idea from a fiduciary standpoint about what we might be looking at. Because now you're going to have to budget that amount going forward.
Well, right now we're budgeting it because we fund 100% of the incarcerated inmates' medical care, no matter what it may be.
But now you can't get any chargebacks. In other words, you don't have any money coming back to you now.
Not at this time.
Exactly.
But we anticipate, from what I'm hearing, and I cannot quote on this, but that there may be something in there for us to gain some monies back if an individual is eligible for Medicaid, Medicare, and some other things, but that's still to be determined.
Okay. Well, just out of curiosity, I know as we go forward, because we're going to be looking at budgets soon, so we'll have an opportunity, Madam President, to kind of go into a little bit further detail at the Finance Committee. So I'm not going to spend any more time right now ask
Very
any
good.
more questions on that. We'll get an opportunity to talk about it later.
Okay, thank you. Additional questions, comments, freeholders? And we are discussing Resolution 4. No further questions. Madam Clerk, we'll list Resolution 4, and we'll go to Resolution 5. Let's take 5, since we have Mr. Ortiz standing there. Ralph, you want to explain 5, read it and explain 5 to us.
Department of Corrections, a contract award to Facsimile Communications, DBA Atlantic Business Products, to provide for email archiving services. We are exercising a 2-year extension option, amount not to exceed $36,768, and this is a 1% increase as per the index rate. The previous contracts was for 2 years, $36,404.
Okay, Mr. McInerney, any questions?
I don't have any questions on this resolution, Madam
No, I
President.
don't have any questions.
Okay, freeholders, questions, comments on Resolution 5? Okay, no questions, no comments. Mr. Ortiz, thanks for your
Thank you, Madam.
appearance before the board this evening. And Madam Clerk, we'll list Resolution 5. Ralph, let's take Resolution 6 and 7.
Office of the Register of Deeds and Mortgages, contract award to Qualtech Document Solutions, the lowest responsible bidder, to furnish, deliver, install, and maintain 8 coin-operated copiers and card readers. 2-year agreement, amount not to exceed $110,000. This is for 8 copy machines, coin boxes with card readers and bill acceptance, 18 card readers for computers, and print software for 20 computers, and this is for Register. Resolution number 7, Division of Citizen Services, our Welfare Department license agreement, 1-year mutual option with the County of Essex and the Essex County Improvement Authority to provide for 57 parking spaces at our Sportsplex garage, $102,600, or roughly $150 per month per space, and this is for, as I said earlier, 57 spaces.
Okay, let's start with questions, freeholders, on Resolution 6. Mr. McInerney?
This is coming out of trust fund money, correct?
The Register and Deed to Mortgages, number 6, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, on 6, freeholders, additional question, comments? Okay, question, comments on 7. Mr. McInerney, any additional questions,
No
comments?
questions on that,
No
Madam
questions
President.
on
or
that?
comments.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we'll list 6 and 7, and Ralph, let's go to resolution. And we have quite a few resolutions coming to us from Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs. So let's take Resolution 8 and 9 and 10, and we'll stop there.
8 is Department of Parks contract award to the Land Tech Group to provide maintenance, repair, and inspection of synthetic turf athletic fields. We are exercising a 2-year extension option, amount not to exceed $216,422. As you know, the county has many synthetic surfaces. We are in the process of replacing 2, I think, in the Ironbound. But the following fields will be included as part of the inspection, and they include the Brentwick Park Middle Division, Rick Cerrone softball field, the Roberto Clemente baseball field, the Andre Tippett football field, Brookdale Park football and soccer field, Glenfield Park, the Little League baseball field, Independence, the 2 soccer fields, and 1 Little League softball field, Irvington Park, a soccer field, Ivy Hill softball field, Orange Park softball field, soccer field, I should say, Riverbank Park soccer field, Riverfront Stadium softball field, Riverfront soccer field, Valesbrook Park, 1 youth baseball field, Wassasine Park, a soccer football field, Weequahic Park, a Little League field, West Side Park football soccer field, West Side Park baseball field, and finally Yantacore Park, a softball field.
Okay. Question, Freeholder, before Mr. Sheller go to the next resolution? Freeholder Owens?
Like, what is the life expectancy of a new field?
Through you, Madam President, they inspect the turf for either repairs and/or if they need to be replaced. I think on average, depending on usage, it could be anywhere from 12 to 14 years life expectancy of a field. But as you know, all our fields are highly utilized, and safety is critical, so to have this inspection service available so that we can make the repairs prior to any problems at these fields.
So does that include the cost of the maintenance of them?
This will include the cost to inspect, the cost to maintain, and the cost to repair. It does not include the cost to replace.
Madam President, I'm satisfied.
Freeholder Gill.
Okay, thank you, Madam President. Through you, Madam President, so the contract is for review for potential repairs and replace, but just as it pertains to Brookdale Park, Ralph, that field was already identified, if I understand correctly, to be replaced?
I believe there have been discussions about possibly replacing that field
So we're
relatively
potentially
soon.
not there yet, but with this contract, would they be doing a review, or is that review has already been done as it pertains to Brookdale?
It could include, if there are some minor repairs that have to be done until such time as that field is replaced, so yes.
Okay.
Okay. Additional questions, Freeholder Clark?
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Chilella, has Land Tech done any of this sort of thing for us before?
Yes, Madam President, as I mentioned earlier, we are exercising the second-year option, the 2-year option.
Right,
They
no,
had this service before, and Land Tech was also, I believe, the vendor that installed many of these synthetic surfaces.
That's what I was, okay, that was,
Not all, but I think pretty much most of them.
okay. That's what I was really kind of getting at. So they actually are the company that put most of these fields in. So that's why they're going to be able to. Now, when you say maintain, inspection is one thing, but maintenance is something altogether different. What are they going to do? I mean, just as a for instance, what are they going to do to maintain it
Well, as some of the
that we
earlier...
don't already do?
Some of the earlier products was made up of a rubber pellet composite, and after many years of usage, that product had to be replaced into the synthetic carpet, for lack of a better word. So that would fall under the maintenance piece. As the product evolved, that product is no longer needed to maintain the fields, but there are other areas that still need to be maintained. Lines wear out, they need to replace the lines. In areas where they're joined by zippers might break down and need to be replaced. So there's a multitude of repairs that could take place on these fields.
This contract is a not to exceed, meaning that we may not use all of it.
That is correct. It's not to exceed, and it's broken down roughly $28,259 for inspection and maintenance, and $188,163 for repairs. So it's specific. And it's a not to exceed, you're absolutely correct. So if we don't use it, we don't spend it.
Okay. And this contract runs from what period to what period?
I believe it's a 2-year from date of award.
So,
October, I guess if it's approved next meeting, it'll run through 2015.
okay. it's an odd contract year because it traverses budget years.
Unfortunately, many of our contracts traverse budget
Yeah,
years.
Yeah, I mean, so in terms of us keeping tabs, I guess, is what I'm talking about.
Okay. Additional questions, freeholders on Resolution 8? Let's move to Resolution 9, then Ralph. And let's include 11, and we'll list 8 through 11 when I ask for to be listed.
9 and-
Continue on 9.
Thank you, Madam President. 9 and 10 are pretty much, they go together. They're basically housekeeping items that Green Acres requires the county as part of the funds that the county has already received under the Green Acres program entitled Multi-Parks. They require this resolution be passed. Resolution 10 is as we get additional dollars in the multi-park grant program. This resolution just raises the ceiling. This resolution last year was previous Green Acres funding of $12,550,000. The county did receive $900,000 in multi-park funding. So this resolution will raise that maximum to $13,450,000, and this is requirement of Green Acres. This is part of the state rules and regulations for this program.
Let's go to 11.
11 is Department of Parks again to award to 3 of the lowest responsible bidders on a unit cost basis to provide tree services, a 24-month contract, amount not to exceed $756,980. Andy Matt will provide the tree trimming. Downey's Tree Service will provide for tree removal, and Dujet's Tree Experts will provide for stump grinding, and this is coming out of our operating as well as trust funding.
Okay, questions, freeholders on 9 and 10? I think 9 and 10 is the companion, am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Freeholder, I'm sorry, Mr. McInerney.
Thank you, Madam President. I just would like the administration, what was the relevance of that $13,450,000 again? I was reading it here, and is that the total match that we've done up to?
Through you, Madam President, as part of the multi-park Green Acres grant program, not the Green Acres program itself.
Right.
This is another grant that the county receives. Since we've been receiving the multi-park grants from the state, up until last year, we received roughly $12.5 million. This year, we received another $900,000. So now that new contract maximum, since the county has received this multi-park grant, we have now received $13,450,000.
So that's what we received, and that's what our match has been also, or because this says match, I'm trying to figure, I think it would be roughly both, because we're usually required to match dollar for dollar.
You're actually correct.
So just in multi-parks, we've got over $13 million in grant funding.
Absolutely.
Not Green Acres, just.
Not Green Acres, just a separate pot of Green Acres funding.
Good.
We've been very successful.
Absolutely. Freeholder Bobadilla, did I see that? No? Okay. Freeholder Owens?
Madam President, to Ralph, this includes all the parks, is that correct?
Yes, we could provide for the board, since the county's received these multi-park grants, the projects that were funded out of the 13 million, yes.
So things that happened during Sandy, would that be not included in that?
Through you, Madam President, no, these are traditional projects that the county has undertaken in the last 9, 10 years in various parks throughout the county. This really has nothing to do with Sandy. These are projects that were designed on the drawing board, got funded by the state, and the county matched it, awarded the contracts, and this work has been done. Again, this is just a housekeeping resolution that the state is asking us to provide them with.
Okay, additional question?
Madam President,
Yes,
just that this 13,450,000 could have been used for a variety of projects. The 900,000 in this case could be used for 5 or 6 different projects. It's not necessarily one. Wherever we need funding for a need for a project, we can do partial grants from other areas, we can do partial green acres, plus our match, plus we can do, capital funding as well. So, it's kind of a variety of funding sources, and this kind of helps us out when we don't want to use budgetary amounts from our own capital funds.
Madam President, can I ask something?
yeah, Mr. Continued Freeholder Owens.
Who designates what parks get this type of services? That done by the county or that done by the park? Do they have to put
Can you hear?
a bid or something in to ask for this service?
That's a very good question. As you know, we've got 50 some-odd park conservancy groups. The park conservancy groups usually work directly with our Parks Department on improvements that they would like to see in their parks. That's a separate application. It has nothing to do with this funding. This is the county's projects that we want to enhance in our park system, that we apply for these funds. The state reviews the applications like other counties and municipalities would submit, and they will award funding for a specific project that we put in for. So we would put in for a project, the state would approve that project, and then fund us. But this is only a tip of the iceberg. This is pittance compared to our conservancies and what they've received, which is much, much more than the 13 million.
So,
Yes, Mr. McInerney?
just so I clarify, so we're not using any of the conservatory's application or funds for green acres, any of this individual park not-for-profits for multi-park improvements. Those are basically specific park improvements indigenous to their parks.
That is correct. But there could be, and I'd have to provide the board with, there could be a park or a project where there's a multitude of funding that's attached. It could be a conservancy funding that they receive from Green Acres. It could be a
Open space.
multi-park grant. It could be also a capital, as well as open space. So you could have multiple funding for a specific project. But this application is strictly put in by the county, in addition to the conservancy's applications.
Okay, you good? Very good. Okay, Freeholders, question, comments on Resolution 11? No additional questions, no comments? Just one question on 11. We have the 3 lowest responsive and responsible bidder. How do we make a determination which one of the bidders we use for various projects?
Through you, Madam President, it's, they submit a bid, and for each service. So for tree trimming, Andy Matt was the cheapest at $169.50 an hour. For the tree removal, based on the size of the tree, Downey's had the lowest price. And for stump grinding, Dujet's had the lowest price, that ranged from $35 to $235 based on the size of the stump.
So this all falls under tree services, and we have 3 different contractors that we use for the various services.
Yes, I should point out that 6 bids were received out of 35 potential bidders.
Okay. Additional questions, comments, Freeholders? If not, Freeholder, Madam Clerk, we'll list 8, 9, 10, and 11, and let's go to 12 and 13. Mr. Shala.
This is insertion of revenue from the New Jersey State Council on the Arts for our general program support, entitled our Summer Concert Series, $14,754. This is for performing art programming during our summer concert series, and this does require a 3-to-1 in-kind match out of our division's operating budget.
Okay. Question, comments, Freeholders? Let's go to 13.
Again, insertion of revenue from the State of New Jersey Community Affairs This is for post-Sandy planning and assistant grants to our Department of Public Works, $310,000. This is for post-Sandy planning and assistance grants. And it's broken down as strategic recovery planning report, a preparation of requests for proposals, municipal land use comprehensive plans, community development and neighborhood plans, permit application process, design standards, capital improvement plans, urban and suburban environmental designs, and development of codes, ordinances, standards, and regulations.
Okay. Freeholders, we question comments on 12, 13. No questions, no comments on 12 and 13. Freeholder Gill, do you have any questions or comments on 12 and 13?
I do not. Thank you, Madam President.
Very good. Madam Clerk, you list 12 and 13 and read into the record Resolution 14. The administration is requesting action.
Resolution 14, County of Essex Professional Services for the restoration of the Freeholders Boardroom Mills Shornering Architectural Services, $92,300 agreement.
Okay. Mr. Shallow, will you explain the resolution?
Yes, Madam President. We do have the representative from the firm here. I'll call up to the microphone. And primarily, we've received 3 firms from a potential bidders list of 121 who reviewed and downloaded the specs. This firm received the highest score and the lowest cost. This will be funded out of our capital funds, and this is primarily restoration of our freeholder chambers that we are sitting in. So if I can call Ms. Krista to the mic.
Ms. Krista? Very good. Could someone adjust the mic for her for me, please? Okay, thank you. Will you place your name and your firm and your affiliation, please, at this time?
My name is Krista Gaffigan, and I'm an architect with Mills and Schnoring Architects.
Did the mic turn on?
Okay, is the mic still on?
It's still on.
It's on, it's good. Thank you. Before you get started, maybe you can just give us an idea of what your services will provide for us here in the Freeholders Boardroom.
Sure. It'll include restoration of the materials in the room, such as the flooring, the woodwork, the decorative ceiling painting, the windows, the metal grills below the windows, hardware, as well as the furniture in the space. It'll also include the mechanical system, or the heating and the cooling system. It will investigate that and, if necessary, replace the rooftop unit that serves this space. And then it also includes the issue of the light bulbs that are burning out in the chandeliers. In addition to that, the room currently has no emergency lighting, exit signage, or fire alarm in the space, so that would be included in the scope because it's required by code. And it also includes audiovisual upgrades as approved by Essex County. And we do understand that there are separate upgrades happening in relation to that. So in general, it would be an overall restoration of the space.
Very good. And I see we've already started, we didn't start, but we had to remove the curtains, the drapers, because it was,
They were disintegrated.
we didn't want them to fall down on someone, so we had to have them removed. Okay, questions?
Madam President?
Yes.
If I may.
Yes, Mr. Scheller.
If the board may not recall, but Mills was very instrumental in the historic courthouse across the street from us, and their work really speaks for themselves.
Very good. Freeholder Clark.
You know what? I was just thinking to myself, that, because as you were talking, I also am thinking about historic preservation
Right.
and how important it is not to disturb the
The
I mean,
integrity.
in other words, to be able to delicately upgrade and bring everything up to code while making, absolutely certain that the, historical, architectural, original architecture is not disturbed.
That's right.
Okay,
And that would be our goal.
gotcha.
Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Thank you very much. The job that you did on the historic courthouse is absolutely phenomenal.
Thank
I mean, that place is just so beautiful. So if you could do that work there, anything you do here will be exceptional. So I'm very happy that you're going to be doing the work here.
Great, thank you very much.
Freeholder Johnson.
What kind of timelines do you have on doing this? How long will it take you to do all those things that you spoke on getting done?
We would expect it to take approximately 9 months, with about 4 months for the study and the design documents to determine what needs to be done, probably about 2 months for bidding, and then we would expect the actual construction to take about 3 months.
Let me just add that when I discussed this project with the clerk and staff, and it was brought to my attention, I said, well, the drapes look good, let me see it. I touched them, and it was almost coming apart in my hand. So certainly I want to thank the administration for responding to my request to get started with this room. If you don't take care of property, or you don't take care of, you start on time before it just totally disintegrate on us. So I think we're doing a smart thing to get started now and get this room back in the order that it should be, that we can all be proud of when we're sitting here taking care of the county business. So again, let me thank the administration for moving on this so fast after my request. Do we have any other comment, freeholders?
I'll just move it.
Oh, okay, Freeholder Sebo moved it. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have Freeholder Clark second. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla, absent. Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Owens.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Very good. Let's take Resolution 15, 16, and 17, Ralph.
Resolution 15, Department of Public Works, contract with Remington and Vernick for engineering, design, and inspection services for the replacement of Cherry Lane Bridge in Milburn, amount not to exceed $193,978.20. This is being funded out of our capital funds. The bridge is over the west branch of the Roadway River. It's in the South Mountain Reservation. And as per the state, this bridge needs to be replaced. Resolution 16, Department of Public Works, Division of Engineering, contract with Boswell Engineering to provide engineering, design, construction, inspection services for the replacement of Dougal Place Bridge in West Caldwell and the Lyons Avenue Bridge in Irvington, amount not to exceed $235,120. Again, this is coming out of our capital funds. The Dougal Place Bridge needs to be widened for traffic and for safety. There is no shoulder on that bridge. And the Lyons Avenue Bridge was built in 1940 and is requiring it needs to be repaired or replaced. Resolution 17, Department of Public Works, contract award to Shauger Cleaning Services, the lowest responsible bidder, to provide for snow and ice removal services, 2-year agreement, amount not to exceed $691,900. This is coming out of our operating budget. There, in your packet, there's a list of buildings and costs associated with each building. It includes walkways and parking lots. We do have representatives from Remington and Vernick, and we have representatives from Boswell Engineering, if the board
Let's
wishes
hear
to.
from Remington, Burnick, and Arlington
Okay,
first.
we have Mr. Frank Sine.
Sini.
How do you pronounce that again?
Sini.
Sina? Okay. Will you place your name on the record for us, please, and also the name of the firm that you're representing?
Frank Sini, the firm of Remington and Vernick Engineers.
Okay. Do you want to give us a scope of what you expect to do if we vote on this contract?
Yes, our services will include full engineering for the replacement of the bridge. It will include survey, construction plans, permit applications, and we'll also be providing construction inspection services during the construction phase of the project. The bridge is structurally deficient, as was indicated, and needs to be replaced. The substructure currently has some issues with it, mostly due to scour and the stream flowing through there for the past 85 years. It's been that long. So we're going to try to replace the bridge in kind. This is kind of in a park setting, maybe some aesthetic features, some stone facing parapets, something that will blend in kind with the pocket park on the south edge of the nation.
Very good. Mr. McInerney?
Yes, it's my understanding that the cost of the design, so the engineering services are paid out of the county's capital funding, but it would be the state that pays the cost of construction. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So we have to pay for the design, and then, do you have any idea what the cost of construction might be, or do you have to do this first, obviously?
I would estimate anywhere between $800,000 to $1 million.
So this is it for the county, as far as I've been told by our engineer,
Very good. Freeholders?
on this project.
Yes.
Yeah, a question. Freeholders? Additional questions, comments? Okay, thank you so much for your presentation to the board this
Thank you,
evening.
freeholders.
And we have Mr. O'Fallon representing Boswell.
Your face looked familiar. But you pulled the mic up.
Hello. My name's Tom O'Fallon. I'm with Boswell Engineering.
Okay. You want to give us a scope of what you expect to do if your contract is approved?
We're going to do the engineering, design, and construction inspection for replacements of superstructure replacements for the Dougal Avenue Bridge in West Caldwell and the Lyons Avenue Bridge in Irvington. We're going to inspect the bridges and design plans accordingly for their superstructure replacements.
Okay. You've done work with the county before?
Yes, our company has. I don't remember which project directly offhand, but we have done work for the county before.
Okay. Okay, additional questions, freeholders? Mr. McInerney?
To the administration, is this similar to the bridge that does, who picks up the construction cost on this?
I do not know that.
Through Madam Chair, I believe this funding is the same mechanism funded through the state.
The state DOT?
State DOT for the actual construction costs.
All right, thank you very much, Ralph. Thank you.
Thanks.
Again, thank you for your presentation before the board. Ralph, on 15, the Remington, Vernick, and Oregon, is this the first time they've done business with the county?
No, Remington and Vernick has done work for the county before.
Okay.
I know they've done a couple of park designs for us, so yes, they have.
I thought the name sounded familiar.
Yes.
I normally ask that question, but I just wanted to put that on record. Okay, let's go to the next one. 17.
Sugar, that's the snow removal and ice removal.
I don't.
And in your package, it includes the Hall of Records, the Annex Building, the Leroy Smith Public Safety Building, Veterans Courthouse, Historic Courthouse, Veterans Park, the parking garages, Essex County Juvenile Detention Center, Essex County Economic Development Center, Essex County Department of Public Works, Essex County Roads and Bridges, Essex County Child Care Facility, and the Essex County Correctional Center Facility. And this is a 2-year agreement, Madam President.
Very good. And I don't think we all know Shooter Cleaning Services. They've been before this board before.
And they have provided this snow removal and
removal.
ice removal
Right.
services in the past, yes.
Yes. Okay, questions, freeholders on Resolution 17? No questions, no additional comments. Madam Clerk, we'll list 15, 16, and 17, and we'll read into the record 18 and 19. We'll be taking those together. The administration's request in action.
Resolution 18, Department of Administration and Finance, Office of Purchasing, contract awards to 12 lowest responsive and responsible bidders per item on a unit cost basis to furnish and deliver household and janitorial supplies for various county agencies. 2-year agreement, amount not to exceed $500,000. Resolution 19, Department of Administration and Finance, Office of Purchasing, contract award to the 5 lowest and responsible bidder for per item on a unit cost basis to furnish and deliver toiletries and beauty supplies for Essex County. 1-year agreement, amount not to exceed $100,000.
Okay, Ralph?
Yes, the reason why we're asking for approval this evening is both of these contracts, previous contracts have expired. In 18, this is a 2-year agreement, and it is for household and janitorial supplies for our various county agencies. Amount not to exceed $500,000. We received 18 bids from 52 vendors who received the bid specs, and the list and the cost are on a to the lowest cost vendor are where the items will be purchased from. Resolution number 19, again, there were 7 bids received from 21 potential vendors. In your packet is the list of the vendors, the costs and the items that will be purchased under the various toiletries, beauty supplies, and this is a 1-year agreement for $100,000.
Okay, freeholders, question, comments on 18 and 19? Okay, freeholders, do I have a motion to take 18 and 19 together?
So moved.
Freeholder Owens moved it. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Freeholder Johnson. No further discussion on resolutions 18, 19. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla, absent. Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Owens.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Seabold.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we have resolutions 20 through 47 that we will list. Do we have any comments on the resolutions? Freeholder Johnson?
Yes, Madam President, I would like to ask my colleagues, Brenda Gill and Linda Luciano, if I could be added from 28 to 42.
Okay, Freeholder Gill, Freeholder Luciano? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Freeholder Johnson, I would like to be, to share the commendation for Leon Godbow. Thank you. That's resolution 46.
46.
Okay, so,
Madam President?
yes,
I don't-
Freeholder Owens?
I didn't hear my name called on those resolutions. The one that, what to take, include.
Oh, would you like to be added to any of the resolutions that you
Yes.
see here?
Yes,
Which
I would.
resolution would you like for us to add?
All.
All of them? Wait a minute, let's see. Do you want to go,
Took me with Arthur Johnson, who was a dear friend of mine. I was there at his ceremony.
Who are we talking about?
Talking about,
Did you give them, just,
I'll give you this.
oh, Resolution 24?
24, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Resolution 24, Freeholder Owens would like to be added. Freeholder Johnson, will you
Yes.
agree?
Yes.
And may I join you with that one?
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have any other resolution, Freeholder Clark?
I'd like to be added to number 24 as well.
Okay,
And also, Madam President, if I could, on yours, number 47.
no problem, very good. Freeholder Johnson is good for you. Freeholder Clark wants to be added. Okay.
No problem.
47, add Freeholder Clark on the commendation for New Day Center with me. She'll be co-sponsor. Very good. Madam Clerk, let's list all of the commendations, 20 through 47. And Madam Clerk, do we have any added starter resolutions?
Madam President, we have none.
Okay, we'll go back to the public comment session. We will open up the public comment session again. If we have any residents, even if you spoke, you can come back again. If you have additional information you would like to present to the board. Do we have any additional comments from any residents or anyone sitting in the audience? If none, Madam Clerk, let the record show that we have no additional comment sessions. And we are going to other business at this time, freeholders. Any comments that you would like to make on any issue that was presented before the board?
Madam President.
The request from the request of Freeholder Johnson. Freeholder Owens?
I'd like to join with my colleague on the funeral about the burying of the violence in Newark. I would work with you, Brother Freeholder Johnson, and anything we could do that would make Newark a safer place for children and the adults as well.
Okay. Freeholder Johnson, Freeholder Owens just made a commitment. I will make my commitment at a later time. I need to think about which way, what it is that I can do best to assist. Do we have any other,
Madam President.
yes, Freeholder Johnson.
And I would like to say for the record, it is a 501c3 organization, so, you know, it is ready to move forward. It's 211 Impact, and they've been doing some literacy things in the city of Newark, going to different schools and working with our younger kids. But enough is enough, and I appreciate any of my colleagues that want to join in and work with us, because it's not just a Newark problem, and you guys know it. You know, it's East Orange, it's Irvington, it's Orange, East Orange, and it's spreading into the suburban towns, because when these young men and young ladies are arrested in these malls and things of that nature, and the carjackings is going on up those ways, you know, and when you look at the address and where this kid comes from, he comes from Newark. So thank you, Madam President.
You're quite welcome. Do we have any additional comments, freeholders, on any issues? Now, remind me to, Freeholder Clark.
Thank you, Madam President. Well, are we at, like, freeholder, like, business?
Yes, we own
Okay.
freeholder business now. Any comments from
I just want to
freeholders?
make sure that everyone received their copy of the NJAC audit. Mrs. Chilella, I know.
Yes,
I
we did.
asked to make sure you got a copy as well. Did you get your copy?
I received mine.
Okay, so all the freeholders got
they
it?
should have.
So you saw what was, I just needed you to I wanted to make sure all of you knew what the financials were for the organization. And also, the New Jersey is celebrating their it's like a historical, I think New Jersey's turning 150 years old or something like that. And so there are celebrations all over the state. So I was just thinking, you know, Essex County being one of the original charter counties, I don't know whether we had anything planned, but that was my question to you, Madam President, or to you, Mr. Chilella. And if we don't have anything planned, maybe it'd be kind of swell if we did think about planning something. Because the Historical Society is more than willing to work with us and to help sort of promote not only New Jersey but our county at the same time. So that's why they came and gave a presentation to all of us to encourage all of the counties throughout the state of New Jersey to do that. And I'm thinking to myself as I'm sitting there, well, nobody's going to do it bigger and better than Essex if we decide to get involved in it. So just a thought.
Very good. Mr. McInerney, we received a memo from the Department of Administration and Finance, and I think I understand, I'm just not sure the memo that came from the administration in reference to the GO bond. Did you receive that memo?
There was a resolution and a lot of communications with regard to the potential for tax-exempt bonds to be no longer tax-exempt. I'm not sure. I recently got a lot from, but I'm not sure if that's what you're speaking to.
Yeah,
there was a resolution from another town. You sent me something on it.
Right. What I'll do, I'll call you just to make sure I understand exactly what this resolution, what this memo is pertaining to.
Well, who's the resolution from, Madam President?
It's from the Department of Administration, Hall of Records, and it's from Hall of Administration and Finance. It's from the county.
I don't see that here in my...
Okay. What I will do, I'll share that with you after the meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Just for you to explain it to me off the record then. I just need to know a little more about that. Okay?
Oh, I have it here, Madam President.
You have it?
I do.
Yeah. Yeah. We can talk about it afterwards. I just wanted to kind of get a feel of I don't know if the other freeholders need an explanation on that. Oh.
This was, I did get a copy of this from Mr. Acker. This was bond anticipation notes that went out to bid, and we sold, and were sold.
Okay, so they were sold by the various bidders?
Well, no, one
one
vendor got it, JP Morgan Securities was the lowest bid, and is now, basically lent the county the $71 million. These are bond anticipation notes, which are effectively what we authorize in capital improvements. But rather than go out for bonds, for GO bonds at any point in time, we go to bond anticipation notes until such point in time that we're ready to go out for a long-term financing.
Okay.
The rates on short-term bonds have been exceedingly low, and so many government entities have been utilizing short-term borrowings as a method of saving money.
And the maturity on these bonds is next year, September 24th?
That is correct.
Okay, that's a short-term.
These are short-term. I don't have the exact date of mature, yes, September 24, 2014, right. And they were sold on September 25th, 2013.
And it is short-term, it's only 1 year. That's why I was just trying to get a feel of what
But again, Madam President, what you'll see is when these become due, we'll either roll these over with additional amounts, so it might be 70 million plus another 20 or 30, or we will go out for long-term general obligation bonds.
And I think...
roll these into those
right,
bonds.
and one of them was with county college bonds, when we did the roll over the bonds for the county college.
We usually do those in the latter part of the year, yes, but that's part of the authorization.
That we authorized already?
Yes.
Okay.
But again, don't get confused. These are pieces, these could be portions of larger authorizations, but only the portion that we need to fund at this point in time. We may have a $10 million authorization, but only need $2 million of it right now to get funds in
Mhm.
to do the work that needs to be done in the short term.
Okay.
And then the following year, we may need to fund $2 million
$2 million
more
more.
of that
Mhm.
10 million.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I'm reading the information that we received, and I just wanted to make sure I'm understanding what I'm reading.
I
Thank you.
understand, Madam President.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Okay, I think that's, I had one other thing, but I'll let that go. Okay, Madam Clerk, we have responses from our last meeting. Ms. Jessica Pearson from 20 Montclair Avenue in Verona addressed the board on this at a second time about a proposed project at 176 Bloomfield Avenue in Verona that is currently before the Verona Planning Board, and she did attach her remarks, and the administration is still awaiting and we're still awaiting a response from the administration in reference to if the county, if we have jurisdiction to make any decisions on what is going on with the OSHA mandated shutdown of traffic and possibly the random loss of utilities in that area. So I think for those, I think Freeholder Luciana, you had some concerns. The administration is still looking into that, and as soon as we receive a response, we'll pass it on to the Freeholder. And also to Ms. Jessica Pearson. Freeholder Clark asked the administration to look into the issues raised by Ms. Pearson, and we just addressed that. And Freeholder Sebo, Vice President Sebo, suggested that the Essex County Department of Public Works should be involved in a review of this proposed project if it's true that it will include work to be done beneath the Bloomfield Avenue. The response we did receive, but the administration is going back to see if they can find some additional information. They're just not sure where we need to be with this particular project and how involved we can get. So Ralph, will you guys just keep looking into that for us so that when we receive an answer, it would be an answer that we can
That is
accept?
correct. I did speak to the clerk earlier, and we did have discussions and response, but I think we wanted to give the constituent a much more
Detail.
Response, and not just a short answer that
Right.
the applicant is before the Verona Planning Board and has not been before the County Planning Board. You know, I think the resident was looking for a more of a response from our County Counsel's office, so we will provide that.
Very good. Okay, no further business. Let me just commend Freeholder Gill and Freeholder Luciana for a job well done. That was the program was excellent. I mean, everybody enjoyed it. The music was good. You went through your presentations good. You had honorees that certainly deserve to be honored today, and I just want to commend both of you. We heard from you on your Italian side, so now we're waiting to hear from you too on your Irish side. So, I mean, you guys get a double whammy with this thing. Okay, but again, let me commend you and thank the staff for working so hard with Freeholder Luciana and Freeholder Gill and making the program a success. Okay, now, Freeholder Gill.
I'm sorry, Madam President, I just wanted to hop back, if we could, just on the comment, Freeholder, the responses to the situation, the Verona situation and what was included in our packet.
Yes.
So just so I understand, is this was sent to the board, is this a transcript of what the constituent who came in our meeting in West Orange said? Are these new questions? Are these, and so that's my first question. And question number two I have is, within this document, the constituent has asked the board to facilitate a meeting with the county engineer, as well as appropriate members from the Department of Public Works. So I just didn't know, through you, Madam President Ralph, if we were at a point where this meeting was going to be set up, or if we or if council can shed some light just on that request? Like if it's, and I understand, I agree. I'm glad to see that we're gonna respond in more detail than what was in the, within what was in the packet, to the constituent. I just, specific to, I guess my question is, I'll try to narrow it down, is, are we facilitating, and I don't know if Freeholder Luciano, Freeholder Siebold, are we facilitating a meeting with the county engineer, or is it premature for the engineer to meet with the constituent at this point?
Through you, Madam Chair, it is premature. It's our understanding that the applicant has revised his application.
Okay.
So before anyone sits down and discusses, we need to know exactly what the applicant is requesting before the Verona Planning Board. So it is kind of premature.
Okay, very good. Additional comments, Freeholder Johnson?
I would be remiss if I didn't mention and thank Ralph Chilella for the help he has done with us with this funeral to bury the violence in Newark, because he was one who opened up the door for us for Bear Stadium, although we're really not all the way yet, but he opened the door and he's been helping us along the way, and I wanted to publicly thank you, Ralph, for what you're doing.
Okay, additional, Freeholder Clark?
Yeah, I just want to also echo my congratulations to our colleagues for, like I always say at these times, for allowing everybody to be a little bit Italian today and enjoy the celebration. So thank you so very much. Madam President, I just kind of like want to pivot for one moment to what we're facing right about now in this country. And I'm just curious, Mr. Chilella, or perhaps Madam President, if you are aware of anything that is happening with the federal government issues, if there's going to be any backlash that we're going to be experiencing here at the county level based on any funding that comes to us from the federal government, or perhaps in the pass-through funding that we would be in line for, that perhaps is going to either be slowed or we're not going to get. I mean, I would like to know that, and I'm sure our constituents would want to know that. The other thing is, I see that we have in our information tonight a list of various locations where people can go to actually go and begin to sign up for the Affordable Care Act. I'm going to call it by its name. I'm not going to call it by an acronym. On paper and in the federal government, it is called the Affordable Care Act, and so that's how I'm going to refer to it. I just want to make sure that our residents are able to sign up for it without too much of a glitch, because I know that New Jersey chose not to enlist the federal government's aid in setting up these exchanges. So that means that our citizens in the state of New Jersey, in particular, some of the most needy residents, which happen to be here in Essex County, are kind of like on their own to make sure that they get signed up. So just out of curiosity, Mr. Chilella, or through you, Madam President, to Mr. Chilella, have you heard anything from our social service agency, i.e. Citizen Services, and in particular the Division of Welfare, about any issues along those lines, and have we been able to steer people to where they can get the kind of help that they might need?
Through you, Madam Chair. As you know, we did provide the board with the information packet that we have made available to our clients, to our staff at our Citizen Services offices. We've also extended that out to our other department so that everyone is on the same page in terms of where people need to go to sign up for the various marketplaces. The good news is the first day there was very little activity at either of our 50 South Clinton or 18 Rector Street regarding signing up for the Affordable Care Act. We have set up triage units so that if individuals are coming there and wanting to find information out, we kind of catch them early on, provide them the information, and they then have an avenue where to follow up on. So no, we have not experienced any long lines or any major questions or calls regarding the Affordable Care Act, but we are prepared. We are also in the process of working with all 22 municipalities and educating them and providing them with information, as well as our website and other avenues to get the word out and help this program to get on.
Be successful.
Be successful.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, because I know we had, when Ms. Gonzalez was here, he mentioned that we had, 100,000 people in Essex County alone that needed, that was a number that they knew of. That number could be larger, it could be smaller, but that's about a target number. So I would hope that by January 14th or January 1st, when it's supposed to go into effect, full effect, that the majority of the people who need to be signed up get signed up. That's very, very, very important. That's one of my main missions, one of my main goals between now and January, is to try to shed as much light as I can as an elected official on helping people who need this service to get it.
Right. Thank you again for your comments and your interest in this particular subject. For the Finance Oversight Committee meeting is Monday, October 7th. It's a meeting for all the freeholders, freeholders as a whole, committee as a whole, and we would like to have all the freeholders, as many as possible, attend the meeting on October 7th. And also the Affirmative Action Committee will be meeting October the 8th at 4:30 p.m. A motion to adjourn.
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
Second.